So I like
cool.
this because there's a little safety latch here. And before we fly, we have to
Careful.
I'm holding it very carefully. Welcome to Waiver Watch episode 18 on March 15th, 2020. We are 107 Waivers, and each week we review some of the most interesting or boring waivers approved in the weeks prior. And we have a little bit of a downturn with waiver approvals. We had 79 waivers approved last week. Jakey hit me with the kind of bad news.
Yep.
Average news, actually.
We'll need the
say.
sad trombone
Yeah.
sound effect right here, but only 38 waivers approved. So, I guess it really is kind of like an average week for them, but it's less than half of last week, so kind of disappointing there. But we had 36 night waivers, one Observer Human Being waiver with the Para-Zero Phantom system, and one high altitude waiver. So, like we've said already, this is pretty much routine now. There's always night waivers, Observer Human Beings, and high altitude waivers like every week.
Speaking of waivers, we'd like to give you a pro tip on some of your small details that you need to pay attention to when submitting your waiver. So we just recently had a client submit a night waiver, and they got not an RFI, but an email describing some errors, and this is like clerical errors at best, in their waiver application. And they had two options. Number one, change the account, Part 107 account name to the responsible person name, or cancel the waiver and resubmit and then put the company name in the appropriate spot. Let's throw up a quick little graphic here. So if you go to Part 107 waivers issued table, you'll see company name as a heading and you'll see responsible person. Now we'll jump over to FAA Drone Zone. And if you look in your account on the top right corner, the account details, you'll see it says Part 107 account name. This is actually the company name. And Jakey, why don't you give us a little spiel on why this is maybe ambiguous on the naming conventions here?
It's a funny one because so that when you get a waiver, the responsible person, that's a person's name. That's the person who submits it. They're responsible, just like it sounds, for that waiver. So, but there's still this company name that's tied to a waiver, and to us it doesn't seem like it matters because again, it's that responsible person. That's who's in charge. That's who the FAA is going to go after, or talk to if there's things, issues, whatever. But they still want this company name, and if those don't match your documents, they're going to ask questions. You're going to get delayed, maybe canceled.
To use another example, so when you get a Para-Zero Safe Air parachute in the ASTM kit, you get documentation, and behind the documentation is watermarked either the responsible person name or a company name. And let's just say you had the company name behind this, and in your Drone Zone account, you had your Part 107 name as your name and then the responsible person as your name. This could delay you in this response that came from the FAA. This could delay you a full submission term. So if it took 60 days to get this reviewed, you might have to sit back in the queue for another 60 days. So this is kind of a drag. So this is definitely one thing that you guys need to know about. It is included in our training for our night waiver and also our Observer people when submitting. Read all the way to the bottom, all the last instructions. We give a step-by-step to make sure that you don't make this mistake.
Yep, but it's still, when it's in our instructions, it's still kind of an easy one to make. So
right.
We'll just keep
hammering it home, right?
Here, yeah. But maybe it's kind of feedback, I think, for the FAA to, the Part 107 account name isn't maybe descriptive enough. Maybe it should just literally say company name or issued to.
I would agree,
and have some guidance on that. But also, maybe why do they need that field? And that's, we'll throw the question out to the FAA. Maybe we'll post on their Facebook page or message them or something. But
yeah,
it doesn't seem like it matters. The responsible person matters, but the company name really shouldn't matter or stop you from getting a waiver in our opinion. So it's kind of a question to the FAA, why is that important?
Yeah.
So
we would have less insight on the industry though if the company name wasn't in there.
Yeah, it's good for us.
Yeah. That would be the downfall. We'd have to do our LinkedIn searches quite a bit harder now to figure out who these people are.
Right. So good pro tip. Make sure your Part 107 account name is your company name if you have a company name.
Rolling into notice to airmen. This is another thing that is maybe slightly misunderstood sometimes. We're going to give a little bit of insight and also throw out some teasers towards the end of this conversation on what we're going to do next to help you guys.
Yep. So NOTAMs, notice to airmen, like Brent said, they're in all the 10751 Bravo waivers, but they're in many other advanced waivers as well. Some of the BVLOS, the high speeds that we've talked about, almost all the waivers except for like night. And so they're really meant to tell manned aircraft, manned pilots, where there is abnormal activity just in general. So if you think about like airports, if there was a runway closed or a navigational aid down. So the FAA also uses them for abnormal UAS activity. So essentially anything outside the scope of like 107, which is kind of normal. So, again, it could be high altitude operations, BVLOS, high speed, just those weird things, right? So how manned pilots would probably see these NOTAMs, there's kind of three ways. You want to run through those quick, Brent?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the three easiest ways, the best way that I like is using SkyVector. So you can hit up Google, type in the word SkyVector, and this is a website that visualizes NOTAMs and other information for pilots. You need to enable the DROTAM layer tab. So it's underneath the weather tab, click the checkbox DROTAM, then you'll see these purple shapes come up, and these will be all the NOTAMs that drone pilots or operators have filed. The next one is Lockheed Martin Flight Service website. And the last one is the FAA FNS NOTAM search. And Jakey, tell us how hard this is to use.
Yeah, so the first two options are visual. They're easy to just look, see NOTAMs, you can see the shape, all that. The last one is this FAA system is just text-based for the most part. So they're really hard to find to begin with. And then they're really hard to read because it's just like a list of lat long and stuff like that. So we definitely prefer the visual options there. So that's kind of for the man side. How do they see these NOTAMs and use them? But for us as the unmanned pilots, probably the better question is, how do you file these? So when you do get a waiver that says, hey, you have to file a NOTAM, how do you actually do that? And it's actually kind of hard and complicated, so we're not going to dive into it in this episode. We're just going to tell you kind of the three ways, and then we're going to put out some videos very soon on how to actually do this. So the three ways, probably at least the three best ways to do it. There's might be some others, but number one, call Lockheed Martin Flight Service NOTAM desk, and you just talk to a guy and you tell them, or gal, tell them where you're flying, all the information, how high, the lat longs, what you're doing, and so on. And they'll type it in the system and file it, good to go. And that's where the map comes in handy, because then you can go actually check that they got it correctly. Second way, go to their website. So Lockheed Martin runs the NOTAM system for the FAA, by the way. They have the contract, so we're not just plugging Lockheed Martin. They're the only ones that do this. So you can go to their website and also file a NOTAM. Same as you talk to the person, it's just electronic. And then lastly, the FAA has an electronic NOTAM system as well. They're all kind of the similar information, just different systems that you put the information in and submit them. So, anything else on that, Brent?
No, I think I'm looking forward to the videos that are coming up on how to file NOTAMs. And, they might not be super relevant to everyone. However, there are going to be a few people, especially if the flavor of the week is 10751s, definitely required to file NOTAMs. As for just for now, might change in the future. Giving a plug for ourselves on what should you be doing the next 2 weeks if you're working from home.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, with the coronavirus situation here, make sure you're getting your information on it from, experts, good sources, CDC, the World Health Organization. Just make sure you're getting your information from a good source, and that's kind of how we're going to leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But like Brent said, while you are sitting around, hopefully not, but if you find yourself with some extra time, do some online training, whether it's through us or any other source. But it's a great time to take advantage and kind of make yourself better, your company, yourself.
Prep yourself.
So what do we have to offer?
Yeah, I know in the northern states, construction season is right around the corner. The ground will begin to thaw. So, like you said, arm yourself with a little bit more knowledge. You could definitely bring this to your enterprise clients and say, hey, last year we were at this level. This year we've done some continuing education. We have safety management systems. We have crew resource management. And of course, if you need any airspace authorizations, ops over people, night ops, the list goes on, let us know. We have trainings for that. If you don't see it, we have some custom opportunities that we can work with you directly if you don't see a specific training for what you need. But that's pretty much it. Take advantage of the work from home that many of us will be experiencing in the next few weeks and come out better ahead than you were 2 weeks ago with a little bit more knowledge and some more qualifications. Everyone loves adding waivers to their names, so.
Exactly.
Well,
awesome. Enough said about that.
I think so. So yeah, check out our blog. We have all the links available on our blog as well. Of course, if you're listening to our podcast, join us at 107waivers.com. Peruse our website for anything that you may need. But that will wrap it up for the week.
All right. Fly safe, everybody.
Take care. All right. Jakey, let's take a trip down memory lane and let's do something that adults don't do anymore, which is show and tell.
Unless there's paychecks or, your checkbook's involved, right?
Unless your checkbook's involved and some salesman is trying to sell you something and they have a nice presentation for you. That's show and tell in the grown-up world.
Yeah. But anyways, all right. So flying RC, super annoying when you got your transmitter, your sticks, you're trying to carry that around, you shove it in your bag. They're just always like out in the way, right? So DJI is so smart. They make the sticks come off. That is so smart. It's so simple, but so smart. You can just shove this in your bag now. It's nice and streamlined. You don't have to worry about the sticks getting broken off. So
the antennas fold up nice too.
Yeah, I know.
It's a
so
sleek
smart
design.
So that's probably my favorite little feature. Call it whatever.
Bringing me back to kindergarten right now.
Yeah, I know.
This is my favorite toy.
All right, what do you got?
All right, my next favorite adult toy is the Parazero Phantom Parachute Safe Air System. And why I like it so much is because of the remove before flight. We all have these keychains, and I never really had a real use for one other than to hold my keys. So I like this because there's a little safety latch here. And before we fly, we have to
Careful.
I'm holding it very carefully. Before we fly, we have to remove this tag. So I think it's kind of like a little cool thing, aviation type thing. Jakey, tell us the roots of where remove before flight came from.
Yeah, so things like intakes and pitot tubes. So your pitot tube measures your airspeed. It's just a little tiny hole on this, tube on a wing, kind of like it sounds, but you don't want bugs and dirt in there and stuff. So you put a little cover to keep those out. So, but you have to remove it, otherwise you're in trouble. You don't have airspeed or your intake's clogged up or something. So
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So a little trip down memory lane. I don't know. I'm thinking like it should be like the Wayne's World cutscene here.